So, today marks the inaugural episode of Anime no Yume, and so with me today, I've got some of my other friends here with me who are going to help me try to make this more interesting than I could by myself. So, the first person I'd like to introduce is Baron J, also known as John.
Hey, how's it going?
And then also Railgear, known as Damien.
Hello.
And then the other two you might know a little more of, which is Gig UK.
Actually, it's probably Gig TH now because I'm in Thailand, but that's if
true.
That's if the UK had anything to do with my place of residence originally, which it never did. But hey, it's Giguk. Nice to see ya or hear ya.
And also Anime Appraisal's very own host of Gene.
Yes, hello everybody, and welcome to Anime no Yume!
Hey!
And so
She gets it.
today's as I said, the inaugural episode, so it's pretty exciting to be able to get this show on the road.
It's the first
I've been
podcast
up-
since Trump's been president.
I've been up since the last episode was posted.
He's not slept,
And-
I can
Oh,
confirm.
I have not slept at all. I've lived in an eternal state of a nightmare. I went to rallies, both the fast food restaurant and the Women's Rights Festival. I'm a big advocate of the women's rights. And so if you periodically hear me chewing, which I'll edit out, it's because I've been going to rallies in both senses of
yes,
the word.
he's so
Hey,
tired.
man. Hey, you gotta eat. You gotta eat.
There's like all non-US listeners are just going to be so confused.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Like I didn't
For all you
understand what the hell
non-US
you
listeners,
meant before.
don't worry about it. It's not concerning you. Just like Trump, please don't ever mention it.
Hold on.
I've-
As,
I've
our,
never
as,
had
our
a
resident,
problem, don't worry.
as our resident UK expert, I will translate. He went to Macca's and purchased a burger.
Ah, I see.
A burger. Damn, dude. That sounds really pretentious.
It is very much pretentious.
I mean, hold on. I don't know if you've spoken to many English people besides me and Gant, but we normally are.
Yeah, this is very exciting to be able to do this. It has actually been, now this is where I got to disclose some weird stuff. Everyone listening, don't tell anybody else, but we recorded the last episode 3 months ago. You just got it really late. So a lot has transpired since
A lot has
then.
changed.
Shock horror.
My suspension of immersion. Oh no.
For instance, if you were here and you were very excited for episode 00, it was great seeing all you guys. If you guys are a member of the Discord and you're currently spectating us as we record this, I'd like to give you guys a shout out as well. It's a very fun community to be around. I'm really excited with how the Discord's going thus far, and I can't wait to keep seeing it grow moving forward.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's free. But if you're into spending money, you can always go on Patreon, give me $5, get an episode like a month early or like a week early or something. So that's also not a meme. For real, give me your money, $5. Episode early, for real.
One thing that's changed since our last recording was I actually downloaded Discord and installed it on my computer. So I'm not using the web
Whoa.
browser version anymore, and now I'm a level
Upgrade.
3. So go me.
She's like, what is this Skype and why is it black?
Let's talk about our achievements on the Discord.
The way she fucking said that, like it was like she was so proud.
I'm level 3.
I gotta tell you.
It's like, oh shit, guys, I downloaded Discord. Yay, Gene!
Mr. Meeseeks in all caps goes, holy shit!
Well, you guys
Level
should
3.
be
Nobody has ever
excited.
done this before.
In the history of Dota.
In the history of Dota.
Well, I just
Shout out to Dota 3.
I just want everybody to know my stats
Yeah.
out there. That's all.
So
now
Gene,
you know.
Gene's got a new achievement of downloading Discord.
And level 3.
Speaking of achievements, though, what do you guys think about the recent gone by Crunchyroll Anime Awards?
I think it was really interesting.
Without
I have a lot of opinions on that.
About-
that.
We also know Miles and we love him and we would like
To
to make sure he knows
disclose
that.
everything beforehand, right? For anyone who may not know, because in the future this may not even exist. In fact, Crunchyroll might just be a dish that you order at a Japanese restaurant. Crunchyroll, the biggest anime streaming site on the internet right now, held what seems to be annual anime awards based on popular vote. The nominations were selected by 7 chosen reviewers or analysts or judges. I guess judges is a better term because, for instance, LaShawn Thomas, GR Arcada, amongst others, were chosen to be judges, and those judges nominated anime, and those nominations were then put forward into a pool, and the pool was just they just pulled the plug and said internet go, and then everybody just jumped in the fucking pool, and there was a lot of pee in the pool, a lot of shit. It became a cesspool very fast.
The pool was frozen.
I was about to say.
Damn it! Oh, good.
And the gays skated on it.
Yeah, there you go.
If you don't understand what I'm saying and you think I'm being homophobic, let me explain. An anime that aired in the previous year, 2016, was an anime by the name of Yuri on Ice. And Yuri on Ice is an anime, a sports anime. Sports anime? Okay,
yeah,
it's a sports anime.
I guess so. I would
I
say.
checked my hand. I was like, yep, sports anime. That features a predominant homosexual relationship between two characters, which kind of steals the show in the latter half.
And I cannot wait to watch it.
Uninformative misnomer in the entirety of anime. It contains no lesbians, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, we have to make that joke.
The main character is named Yuri. That's where the name comes from, not Yuri as in.
I mean, if that was product placement in the UK, they would be sued so quickly. It's unreal.
It's true. They actually have laws against false advertising. So it swept basically every award that it was nominated for.
No, I think it was every award it was nominated for.
I think it might have been actually.
Yeah.
I don't think it was all of them. I think there was a few that it didn't.
The only award at the time of recording this that hasn't been announced is Anime of the Year, but I believe it is safe to assume, this is again future prediction disclaimer, I'm pretty sure that it won Anime of the Year.
I am not sure because here's the thing. Okay, so Yuri on Ice won everything because it was a popularity contest. But was there a category where Yuri on Ice went directly against ReZero? Because I don't.
Right, like best action, that wouldn't have won.
Let me do some research and get back to you on that one.
Because the thing,
I'm pretty sure in best fight scene, whenever Yuri kicks the door, that could have been nominated.
Oh my god!
But the thing is,
Don't spoil.
because Yuri on Ice won so many awards, I think there was a bit of people didn't, and ReZero wasn't nominated for many things. Period. I still think ReZero, in terms of like overall popularity, was more popular than Yuri on Ice. But because Yuri on Ice was nominated for so many things and won so many things, people are like thinking that Yuri on Ice is like the most popular anime. But from my recollection, those two didn't compete directly against each other in any categories. So I still think there is a possibility that ReZero could take Anime of the Year.
It's possible, but I think the important thing that would be going against it would be Yuri on Ice was more recent than ReZero, and that's actually has a lot to do with it.
ReZero did take up half the year though, in comparison. And I can confirm that what Grant said is true. There is no one category that Yuri on Ice and ReZero are both in.
Yeah, that is correct. I checked that as well.
Yeah.
It is possible.
Yeah.
We'll find out come the 28th when this episode is released. Regardless of what the outcome of that is, though, specifically, there's a lot of interesting results. My favorite result by far that I was like, this is incredible, was the results for Villain of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Which Villain of the Year went to the Villain of Erased. I'm not going to go into the specifics of who that is in case you haven't seen Erased, because I recommend you watch it. If nothing else, it's a good ride. But the Villain of Erased won over Yoshikage Kira, which was pretty impressive. That is the JoJo's villain who's actually good. Dio doesn't actually count. But to be Yoshikage Kira, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the villain category was fucked up in all places. I mean, Bieber from Cabaneri was nominated, and he was, like, I think universally known as, like, the worst character in that entire series. So how he got
memed in.
How good would it have been if the Villain of the Year, one of the nominations was Emilia from ReZero?
Oh my god.
I would have fucking died.
It probably would have got a lot of votes.
I think it would have gotten like the kind of D's nuts votes. Like it would have got the same votes as like Harambe and D's nuts in terms of the pure potentness of the meme right there. It's a very strong meme, And I think that alone would have carried it to at least second place, if not winning the entire Shazam.
I mean, 2016 votes memes pretty strong that year. You know,
I mean, we memed our way into the White
Yeah.
House, so
yeah,
So,
we memed our way out of a continent. So,
okay.
well, kind of.
So,
Yeah, but I mean, did you guys think it was like flawed at all?
It's never going to be a perfect voting system.
there was some back-end information that I found out that made me feel like it was flawed. But as far as Grant, what do you think was kind of the most inhibiting factor for the awards?
popular vote. It was
It's funny because that's exactly what we need in the U.S. to have Hillary as president. But if we lived in a world where popular vote dictated everything, it might be a better place. But the important thing to realize here is that I believe the popular vote did two things. One, it made a lot of things get overshadowed, of course, because it was more recent. But I think the other thing was that because the nominations were not by popular vote, it actually alienated an entire potential fan base from even voting for what they otherwise would have done.
Right.
A good example of this is, of course, everybody's favorite thing to say, which is Sora again Roku Rakugo Shinju, which is incredible, by the way.
the hot show of the year.
Debatably anime of the year. I'll just
Yeah.
go by and say it probably is. You guys can think in the comments
Debatably
later.
anime of the year, and something that I fell asleep in the first episode, which is why I didn't cover it in my year review. But murder me later comment section, because I know a lot of people are waiting for that.
The important thing to realize is, though, that since the nominations themselves were not actually popular vote, I feel like the ballots in which were cast were skewed from the get-go.
Yeah.
I
Right.
feel like why not just flat out put, whatever, every show if you want. Make it complex. Make it so people really feel justified in their vote. Maybe let them vote for three things. That's what I would suggest. Put everything on anything that the genres apply for, or characters that apply, and just let people choose three. And I feel like naturally you'll get a lot more of what is an actual representation of what potentially is the most popular show of or characters or whatever have you of that year. Rather than right now, which is kind of skewed. Because, for instance,
Right.
Kisniver was only referenced for two things. I think it was opening
And it
and
didn't win
drama.
best opening, which is a crime. But
But another thing is, didn't they only allow 24 to 48 hours for the voting team to take place? Or did I read that?
I think it was a bit longer than
no.
that, from what I've heard.
No.
Yeah, I think it was a week. I don't think the voting
The
duration
I
matters.
think the window was a little over a week.
I think at
But
the
it
end of
was
the day,
just
if-
hosted on Crunchyroll.
yeah.
No, it was theanimeawards.com.
Well, but it was basically done entirely by
Through
Crunchyroll.
Yeah, but it wasn't
Crunchyroll.
like you needed a Crunchyroll account to do so.
No.
But yeah, I think the problem is the popular vote, and I'm not sure how they'd get around that, because I think no matter what, you're always going to be.
You'd run into an Oscar problem where it would just be Oscar
Yeah.
bait, and it would
It's
be
like if you did it all by say if they got a panel of people to organise it, then it would not only have then the factor that it would be not by the audience, it would only be by a small group of people.
Yes.
But it also lose a lot of the interactive factor that Crunchyroll are having right now.
Yeah.
And that would, it's
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
what they've got
that.
really good going for them at the moment.
Yeah, I don't see Crunchyroll getting rid of the popular votes, but it's just more of how can we have a system that more fairly accurately represents, or maybe just a more balanced system. Because I think the fact that Yuri on Ice won everything, I don't know. I think that was always going to happen with this kind of vote, no matter what the nominations are. And there was a flaw in the nomination system, which I'll get to later. But the fact that Yuri on Ice swept so many awards was just a fact that no matter what got nominated in each category, every category was the winner of every category was basically the most popular show of that category, rather than the best show or the best category winner, if that makes sense.
and
Right.
the most vocal example being best animation going to
Yeah.
Yuri on Ice over
Over
everything
Mob
else.
Psycho.
It's a damn crime.
Everybody's insert obligatory Mob Psycho 100 comment here. Which is what everybody really wanted to win.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why that got nominated. I can understand because the first two episodes does have some of the best animation of this year, in my opinion. If we're just talking about the first 2 episodes, but. Whether it's the best, I don't think it should be the best, because Mob Psycho 100 and even Flip Flappers were way more consistent throughout their run.
Yeah.
Girls definitely not kissing.
I'd say they're a lot more interesting as well.
Yeah, and a lot more interesting. But my problem is that because it is popular vote, no matter what the nominations are, not everyone's going to have seen Mob Psycho or Flip Flappers even. So a lot of the votes will just be Yuri on Ice because people have only seen Yuri on Ice.
Yes, absolutely. I think a cool stats to get would have been, for instance, like you were just mentioning, year-end stats. I think would be just as potent. Remember, you guys might remember this earlier on Twitter. Whenever they released, I believe it was 2 seasons ago, they had a map of the continental U.S. and they had the shows of what was the most popular per state. As far as the U.S.,
I remember that.
And I thought that was statistically really interesting. And I think that getting stats like that, for instance, from like another site that's not sponsoring us, Pornhub, offers a lot of very interesting statistics every year as far as a lot of data you can extrapolate. I'm sure a lot of data was extrapolated on Pornhub as well.
I do remember these things that people were posting in Discord the other day actually about that. Oh god.
Yeah, I think that kind of stats would almost be more rewarding to see and kind of understand.
For things like best show, that'd be really good to use those kind of stats to find the nominations. Like say like the top 8 whatever most viewed things in different areas maybe.
I think the stats regardless would be much more interesting than the actual awards ceremony themselves.
Yeah.
No offense to the awards themselves, but I think that the statistics would be incredible to see. Because you get to see like stuff like, for instance, what was the actual retention of Flip Flappers week to week? What was, going in, how many people saw Luluco as opposed to something else in the season? Running like concurrently.
Because there's no way that the guys running Crunchyroll don't know these stats.
No, of course not. Yeah. They of course they know these stats. There's got to be some kind of data on the back end that allows this. And I don't feel like they would lose anything by even just ranking them, right? They don't have to tell us their numbers, right? I understand the fear of that, right? But I feel like even just telling us, what was in like chronological order of what was like, per season the most popular, or even, if you compound it into 1 year, what the most like viewed were. I think that'd be really interesting to see how stuff like ReZero, like how many minutes were spent watching it, because it's 24 episodes versus how many minutes were spent watching something like Yuri on Ice, which is just 12. And I still think that Yuri on Ice may be viewed more because of it. There's just a lot of interesting things that I feel like we could dig up through doing that.
What do you guys think about the nomination system they had?
7 people? I don't know. I think it's a little skewed.
I thought it was a little suspect.
There was a small panel of people that seemed like to have really similar tastes as well.
Why didn't we nominate John? John's seen everything.
Because all of my nominations would have been the same 2 things.
What are your nominations, John? I'm very interested, man.
Yeah, what are your nominations for the same 2 things?
Mob Psycho 100 and... God, now I'm trying to actually think of a funny answer, and the only thing that comes to... K-Joe. Yeah, that's a good one.
I got you. Fun story that I feel like is actually anecdotally relevant. Back whenever me and John were at Anime Expo 2016, we actually saw the world premiere of episodes 1 and 2 of Mob Psycho 100 with our friend Jeff Thu from Mother's Basement.
Professional shitbag.
And Abby from Ocelot. And it was a lot of fun. We pulled some strings. I acted like I was someone important because I knew Miles. Shout out to you, Miles. And we got the gift of seeing it with the director there and everything. It was awesome. It might not have been the director. It might have been the CEO of Bones. But it was
it was the CEO of Bones. Yeah.
Very exciting nonetheless to be there seeing that. And I think that was my first time watching anime with that many people besides Twitch watchers Pokemon. So that was also very exciting.
It was pretty sick. I do want to bring up this, though, because this is the more funny anecdote from that thing. So Gart and Holden had this meetup right beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
And
we did.
There were
Shout
just a bunch of dudes
there.
Yeah, shout out to all those people. There was one guy that like knew all of us specifically, like by names and like even me.
You're talking about Jaren.
Jaren, yeah. And he was there.
He got the exclusive package, man.
We were just like, we're going to go see Mob Psycho. And he was like, oh, I'll come along. And I was like, yeah, dude, come on.
I was like, bro, you want to come, man? He's like, yeah, dude. I was like, okay.
So
cool.
we go up and Holden's just like, this is this guy, and Jaren. And Miles just kind of looks at Jaren. Miles looks at Jaren and goes, all right. And he comes in with us. It's just some random guy.
Dude, no, man, that was so much fun getting to meet all those people. You know, we got to meet and connect with everyone. I think we've talked about it before in the previous episode. Maybe. I forgot. It's been 3 months. But
yeah,
Anime Expo was absolutely probably the most incredible time of my life.
Cons are always pretty good, dude.
And
I fucking love that, man.
We got to go on a roof. That was really fun.
Got to go on a roof.
Got to meet my better half, Victoria Holden, the other Holden, little inverted. We were separated at birth kind of deal. That's why we have the same name, but in different places.
Garnt and Holden dragged me back to their hotel room to watch Garz's Wing.
Yeah,
which is
Garzy's Wing. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, bro, we should watch Garzy's Wing. And then Mike was there. Shout out to my boy Mike. And me and Mike were like, this is Tomino's best work. And I was like, I agree. Zeta doesn't even compare.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting in the back like, what the fuck is Garz's Wing? And they just all look at me like,
which, yeah.
I remember that wasn't it your first time seeing it too, Aaron? Or had it been
No.
last?
It's been years since I last seen it. But Gazi's Wing is like, what I like to say, it's like kind of like the room of anime. And so if anyone, Gazi, it's one of those things where it's just so bad, it's one of the best fucking anime to ever exist. So like...
Well, you certainly got sexy.
I guess I have to see it.
The English dub. You have to watch the English dub.
English dub. Yeah.
The English dub is very important. Otherwise, it just is confusing. It's like Black Rock Shooter, the anime series.
I was saying it sounds like BRS, like fucking ghost stories and...
It's a guy going to a separate world. Man. And then you got all the great lines like, oh my god, I remember I was fighting with foreigners naked. And it was just like, it's incredible, like... I see you've been working out, Miss Talsia.
I see you got sexy.
Miss Talsia, that's what it was. You're right.
I think what was the one where it's just the guy? The guy's like, "We should hold him prisoner." No, we shouldn't do that.
Okay.
But it's such a great anime to watch. In groups, basically.
Yeah, and it was the 4th of July is what it was. I remember now.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was the 4th of July. We were very hungover.
We just got done watching Born in the USA, where I, no joke, played Born in the USA and just did muscle lifting poses for 7 minutes while Born in the USA was playing.
Duly note that I was the sober Sally here, so I was just sitting here watching these guys go nuts. It was fucking great.
And then the next morning, I remember the first episode of Berserk 2016 airs, and we're all just hungover, and we're just like, what the fuck is this?
No, we were so hungover. Holden's voice had completely gone.
Oh, it was gone. Dude, I sounded so bad. Oh man, I remember that I sounded like I was joking, but it was like, no, I actually sounded like that the whole time.
So Holden's like, oh, guys, the new Berserk. Yeah.
Hey guys, there you go. Hi guys. I was screaming so much the night before that I just couldn't, because it was not that I was just screaming. It was that I was burning all of it with just absolute and other forms of raw alcohol.
Yeah. So he was like, guys, the new Berserk is out, and we were just like,
so
Holden, what the fuck are you talking about? So yeah, we watched. So we ended up watching the first episode of Berserk in a group, and we were all just like, we all just couldn't believe what we were seeing.
We were like,
because we were like,
we have some alcohol left over in some bottles over there.
We were like, are we this hungover, or does this animation looks like even worse than we ever imagined.
It was. I remember it was. I felt like I was in a dorm room because we were all sharing a TV, projecting a laptop onto a TV to watch anime, and I was like, "Oh, this is exciting! There's people that watch anime around me. I've never been around this." I was like, "Ooh, watching anime."
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess like, I actually really like watching anime in a group now because I never really experienced it before going to cons.
Yeah.
Or watching anime in theaters is still one of the most surreal experiences for me.
Oh, dude. Go on. I saw the Love Live film at London MCM the other year. That was
Oh my god! How was that?
Yeah.
How was that? What was that like?
Oh, well, like, even before the show had started, there's people shouting out meme shit. Like, it was coming up with a Sunrise logo, and I heard a few people in the crowd going, I didn't know this was by Sunrise. I was like, oh my god. And then, like, as it was starting up, some guy just shouts, Idolmaster is the best Idol show.
It's true, though.
And then I just replied to him shouting out, Symphogear is. It's like, that was how memey that was.
I mean, that sounds amazing.
It was
The hallways
hilariously
of the
weird.
con were like that, too.
Oh my god.
It was a cesspool of just broken memes.
You know,
Yeah.
guys, it's kind of funny. Wait, that you're talking about Berserk. Someone in the lounge chat is saying, "I hate CGI fingers. I hate CGI hair." And then I like Berserk. Just kidding.
I was saying, don't watch Berserk. Here's a
I'm
question:
just listening.
if
What
you
is
had to
this?
make an argument for what is some anime that's CG that aren't terrible, what would you do, Garrett?
Oh, I'll have to think about this. I mean, anime that... Okay, so I'm not sure...
They're not terrible. You can watch them and it doesn't feel emotionally bad.
I'd say like something like Expelled from Paradise is my most... If what I can think of. But I can't think of like... any. If you were to turn to me and say, is there a good CG anime that I can think of?
I would say Ruby. Kappa. Everybody spam Kappa in chat.
I'd say Knights of Sidonia and Arpeggio Blue Steel
See,
Ars Nova straight away.
I would not say Knights of Sidonia because there is still
Only
like...
season 1 I've seen, so...
No, because like I'd say the same thing about Arjun because I actually enjoyed Arjun.
I think Ajin's better than Sidonia.
Yeah, Arjun
Arjun.
Arjun is a step up from Knights of Sidonia. But the problem is that there's still a disconnect while watching it. There's still like... Because the thing about CG anime is that you go into it thinking... I need to get over the CG. You know what I mean? I need...
Step one in denial. Accepting.
Yeah,
It is bad
accepting
CG.
accepting that this will just be CG. That's step one of watching a CG anime.
I feel like we can make a video on like the 5 steps of accepting your favorite manga is getting a shitty CG adaptation.
Step 1. Cry.
Step 1, the reasoning. It won't be that bad.
Oh my god, it's so true.
Step 2, watching the trailer. Oh man, I'm sure that this was just the trailer footage.
So step 3, maybe it will get better as the series goes on.
This goes on. My favorite would be like step 4. It can't be that bad.
Step 5, clench Uranus and say it's
Yeah.
good anyway.
Step 5, find a nice strong can of bleach.
Can of bleach.
That is
Can of bleach, man. You gotta pop that shit open like it's Dr. Pepper, baby. Woo! Oh my god. And in the future, bleach is sold in a can.
Like, I just imagine it like Popeye. Like.
I feel like in the world of children and men, no one can be bored. Depressions ran high. Bleach is in a can. Welcome to the future.
No, I feel like that's the direction the world is going because memes are taking over so much that I wouldn't be surprised if they started selling bleach
In a can. I think that the ultimate anime, the penultimate, as far that's not the penultimate. It actually is the ultimate anime for CG. Will always be for me, Gans Osaka. It's
Yeah, that looks really
But
good.
the thing is,
it's nutso.
that I think there's a difference when what we're talking about CG. When we're saying like CG as in Gantz O, which is kind of like it's not anime. It's not anime
It's like
style.
the Final Fantasy stuff, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
My definitions of anime. But it's made by the
Okay.
Japanese guard.
Okay.
Like Square
Well,
Enix have jumped in and gone, hey, you can have some of our stuff here.
Yeah, exactly. It's more. it's what when I say CG anime, because otherwise we can get like Final Fantasy 15 involved in,
that's anime
in all
first
this
time.
as well. Yeah, okay. But
The red.
my point is that when I say CG anime, we're more talking about these Knights of Sidonia.
So we're saying TV series.
It's a CG animated series.
I'm saying like a style that kind of tries to replicate 2D animation, but kind of just fails at the same time.
Okay.
And it can work. I mean, you look at like the Fire Emblem games, and they're
Bruh,
CG
are we
cutscenes.
oh man, we have to bring that up all the time. Made by Madhouse.
Yeah, yeah, and those look good, and those replicate the 2D anime style. But I can't think of a single 2D anime that has that style. That does actually look good.
Oh man, isn't Ruby such a great CG anime? I felt like drinking that can of bleach just from saying that, to be honest.
There is one in particular. I remember saying it in not my last seasonal thing, but the one before that where I was complaining about CG. It took me like a watch through of it again to realize that all of the action sequences were in CG because it was in the same frame rate.
Oh man, BRS does that. Which, wow, we're bringing up Black Rock Shooter a lot. This is like, I want to stop it real quick.
Yes.
I feel like I need to like just wash myself with can of bleach to get rid of all this.
I just feel like I said, you go into a CG anime and you just have to accept that it's CG. There isn't a CG anime you go into and you're like, wow, this looks good.
Oh, that's what it is, bruh. Dude, we were just talking about this. IGPX actually looks really not bad.
Oh, yeah, IGPX.
IGPX looks not awful. You should go rewatch the trailer for IGPX, Chad, which is Immortal Grand Prix, by the way. Watch it in English. There's a SpongeBob voice actor in it. You're going to love it. SpongeBob's in it.
Tom Kenny.
Speaking of memes,
Tom Kenny is going to make your soul feel good again. It looks pretty good. It looks not bad. And it's like done in a tasteful way. It's not Initial D, which is a little less tasteful. That's because it's cars and it feels bad. But my example that made me think of IGPX is, if you haven't seen it, by the way, guys, it's done. Highly recommend it. It's Code Geass Akito
oh
the
yeah,
Exile.
they're good.
Actually, I have heard good things about that.
Yeah. I've seen the first couple, but they are really good.
I need to fucking watch that.
It is actually really good. Another one would be the Gundam The Origin, also CG mech fights. Not terrible. Worth watching as well. Probably more so than the other stuff I recommended.
That being said,
far.
I've heard the RE0086 unicorn stuff is pretty horrible. Yeah.
We don't talk about that one. Notice how I didn't name that one.
Now, I do feel it worth bringing up, but I feel like this whole conversation, we're kind of dancing around a particular issue, and it might date the episode during recording, but there is a show that just aired that has the worst CG.
I wouldn't say the worst. I've seen a lot worse. John, you know the kind of shows I see. I've seen a lot worse, but it is pretty bad.
As I've said on Twitter, I like to refer to it as we forgot to turn off VSync, the anime.
Hey, I retweeted that.
Yeah, you did.
Or as I call it, Parkinson's. We are talking about Handshakers. Handshakers is an anime that doesn't care that people have to watch it. It just wanted to exist. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should really go watch it. If you have motion sickness,
oh god,
no, dude. I watched it with a couple of guys, and they were like, "Wow, I felt like I was going to throw up 4 times during this." But because we were watching it in a group, it was hilarious for the rest of us. So if you do have motion sickness, watch it with a friend.
Especially if you're not the one with the motion sickness.
You're the one that holds up the back.
Okay, so I haven't actually watched Handshakers yet. I've just heard a lot about it. So
man,
what's
like,
so bad about it before I go into it?
Where do we start?
So, okay, it's like they made the scene in Maya or any other 3D rendering program. We'll go with Blender. Keep it on the free side. Everyone go download it on Steam. Shout out to Blender. It's like they made a scene in Blender, took the camera, and then just they motion captured a top spinning. And then that was actually what they mapped the camera to. And we kind of...
And they stick a fisheye lens on it every now and then as well, just to make it even more interesting.
And they're like, boom.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you see, it's the people that made K Project, so they're
so
they're
it
super.
It already looks terrible, but now it just looks nauseating.
And see, the worst part of it is that the animation itself is captured at like 23.7, 23.9
Wait, see,
standard
like, the
film.
frames seem to change all the time. Dude.
Yeah, well, it's all the CG. All the CG is in a solid
even
like 60.
like the 2D animation seems to change in frame rates every now and then. It's really weird.
See, I haven't noticed that. So now that I'm going to go back and look at that for this video, I'm gonna throw up.
Open up Fraps and do a frame test. Here we are, dude. We got I got my GTX 1080 here. We got handshakers. I'm gonna do a quick benchmark. I get a stable average 35 FPS.
Oh my god.
The anime community is sponsored by Nvidia.
Yeah.
It's
boy.
really crazy looking.
But
I really recommend it.
It's like a teenager was like, I like this and I like this and I like this. Let's put them together. And I probably shouldn't have done that. But here you go anyway.
so one of my problem with 3D animation that tries to emulate the 2D art style is that there's always seems to be this really like weird frame rate bug, or I don't know.
Yeah, 24, baby.
Yeah, is it because they are physically limiting their frame rate to 24 because that's what 2D animation is? I mean, why?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Because in 3D, it just looks really fucking weird. I mean,
yeah, it's weird because we play video games, and video games don't do that.
yeah, exactly. Video games don't do that, so I don't know why animators in 3D are limiting. They are limiting themselves to this.
And it's because it runs at like usually 24 FPS. There was this old thing back in the day called SVP, Smooth Video Playback. It is an extension for MPC and VLC, I believe. And what it would do is it would basically use the same kind of effect that Twixtor uses, if anyone who uses After Effects knows that plugin.
Yeah.
Where basically what it does is it samples frames and generates in-betweens, basically. And so the SVP, what would happen is when it would mess up a lot, because during smears and stuff, it doesn't mathematically make sense. But normally you can like get around it, and that's how you get all those AMVs that have that crazy slow-mo effect where it's like, this scene wasn't in slow-mo, how'd they do this? And the answer is Twixtor. And with 3D animation, you don't even need that, right? Because it's hypothetically infinite frames, because it's never been drawn. You're only limited by the amount in which you render.
Yeah.
So how fast you can render and all of that. They render at 24 FPS because cinema and film is still in 24 FPS.
But they don't need to.
No, they don't. It's kind of like old anime with DVDs, right?
Yeah.
So, an example. Something like Gundam Wing existed in standard def on DVD and VHS for years. And it was in like, at most 480p, minimum like 240.
Yeah.
And that's how it existed for about a decade. And then there was a Blu-ray of it. And the reason that the Blu-ray looks so good is because they're taking a scan of the original film stock, which Sunrise vaults everything.
Right.
Sunrise, not joking. They have a vault where they will vault with an airtight pressure chamber.
That's pretty cool.
And keep all the film in it because it looks perfect. What they do then is they take it out of this, basically, I'm not saying it's not actually vacuum packed, but it's probably climate controlled for sure. And they take the film stock and they actually scan it at a higher, or not in this case, take photos of it at a higher resolution than previous. Thus, you can get even higher resolution. So for instance, if my camera shot 4K stills, I could shoot every frame at 4K and make a 4K copy of a video, and it would actually look 4K because the whole format is analog. And so I know I'm confusing people at this point, but the whole point is that because it's analog, it's infinite resolution. 3D is the only thing since then that is hypothetically infinite resolution besides vectors.
Yeah.
So an example is that, this is going to sound really weird, but Line Barrel of Iron and Van Dread cannot exist in perfect 4K ever because they were made on a canvas that was 1920 by 1080. That was just the limiting factor of the time. And we're slowly abolishing that. We're trying to do vectors and stuff. But, I mean, a lot of it's still done on paper, so we're a ways off from that.
I just remember like my very first impression of watching Knights of Sidonia, because I think Knights of Sidonia was my first fully 3D anime series, and my very first impression while watching the opening action scene was, oh shit, my graphic card's fucking up, because Because it was just like really, it just looked like it was slightly lagging. So I was like, oh, this shit's so next level that my graphics card is not keeping up. And then I just slowly realized that, oh no, wait, the series is like this. And then my second thought was, how did they let this pass? You know what I mean? Because it just looks...
It's hard. I don't get why. I mean, it's really weird that they did that. I think a really fun example, bringing it back to Berserk, is that the Berserk Blu-rays are actually animated and omit a lot of the CG scenes, for people who don't know that. The Berserk BD releases are basically an entirely different anime. I don't know why. Maybe for broadcast purposes they have to keep it at 24, but for Blu-ray or something like, Netflix, which is what it was a Netflix original, I don't understand why they were limiting themselves. That's a really good question that, if anyone knows, I'd love to know the answer.
Yeah, I mean, even TV releases aren't limited to 24 FPS anymore. So when we had all digital changeovers and stuff, I think 60 FPS is the limit of TV now.
If anyone in the comment section knows, please tell us, because it is very...
Well, I mean, you think there's like HD TV and stuff now, like going over
and
general
that
lines,
finishes the video section of our podcast. It's time for me to ramble about audio engineering for probably about 20 minutes. So when you're talking about compression, compression is a fickle subject.
Let's
talk about...
I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah,
Here's the question that I want to know that I think we were talking about a bit earlier that I feel like is really relevant to all of us. And that is film itself, right? With cinema, right? 24 FPS, which is what life is for most film students who like Martin Scorsese.
Yay.
The whole thing that I wanted to bring up was the idea of film and anime. And that's because, for instance, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring up Your Name is the one I was going to bring up. Woo! And I'm also going to bring up Silent Voice. And so, and Kizu Monogatari, and anything else I've seen in theaters. I think it's very... The reason I want to bring it up is because we were talking about movies earlier, and I was thinking, because we were talking about all this film stock and everything, animated films for anime are becoming less and less of a rarity, whereas we previously only saw a handful a year. We're seeing, a handful a season now, and they're not like just tie-ins. They're not like compilation films like they always used to be. A lot of them are actually now legitimate standalone films for anime, and I think that's really interesting. And the implication of what that has for the Western audience, especially, is what I want to talk about, because think about all the people who might be in this call right now with me who haven't seen stuff like Your Name or Kizu Monogatari or A Silent Voice, who want to.
Yep.
And there's no way that they can.
Yeah.
And it's super, super profitable, I assume, for the Japanese, because there's almost no pirating.
There's even the new Yu-Gi-Oh film is airing in London in about a week or so.
And in comparison, let me tell you, in
crazy.
The middle of bumfuck nowhere where I live, the nearest showing of Your Name was in Chicago. Honestly. I think there might have been one in Indy, but that was the closest place that I found.
Well, no. Your name's premiering in like April in like USA. Yeah. Which, Gene, if you don't know what we're talking about, just book your ticket now, because that shit is gonna be sold the fuck out. Yeah. And I mean, as someone who's lucky enough to have seen Your Name, I think living in Asia now, I didn't realize how much anime other Asian countries get in comparison to Western countries, because it's surprising.
Yeah, man.
Because
China,
it is a lot, because we get most, if not all of the big names coming over. I mean, we're getting A Silent Voice in a few. I think it's next month or the month after here in Thailand, and it's just one of the biggest things I didn't realize was anime is obviously really big here, but it's like what surprised me was how behind the West actually was in comparison to other Asian countries, because we don't realize it, because we get whatever the fuck we can get over there, but here it's just a normal thing to watch anime in theaters, because it's not like when I say we get anime in theaters here, it's not like a special limited edition theater run. It's promoted in the same sense as Hollywood movies are. It's just kind of a normal thing.
They get like advertising.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, they get like advertising time.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Not just like every 2 days.
That's not even a
your local Cineworld.
Just rub it in more, Garn. Gosh.
That's really crazy, because I mean, like, by comparison, I saw the 20th anniversary of Princess Mononoke at hosted by Fathom Events earlier this month. And that was a one-day thing, so it was a pretty packed theater. But I can't imagine what that would have been like knowing about it, like having any advertising knowledge of it. I only knew because I was like looking for something to watch, and there was an advertisement at the ticket booth for it. Like a paper. Like a physical piece of paper.
So you went for it.
You mean like a leaflet or a poster? It's like...
Oh, no, like a leaflet. Like it was like this month's Fathom Events. And it was like, here you go, like take this. Also, spend money at every AMC in America. Do it.
Right.
We
It's
want
quite
you
similar
to.
in referencing when I saw the Love Life film. Like, I know, fair enough, it's a bit of a joke, but I think the one I saw was probably one of, if not the only screening that has happened in the UK. Whereas, you think the sales in the East for that are humongous. Like, the difference in that is crazy.
I mean, the thing is, okay, fucking idol shows are massive.
Yeah, I know they're not as big over here,
Oh, they're
fair enough,
so
but there
big.
is still a huge cult following for Love Live over here.
Yeah, there's a huge cult following, but it's definitely like idol shows here are just like, they are like mainstream shit. Like, this is bigger than like I remember walking into an anime
Was it
store.
anime?
It was a pretty decently sized anime store.
Oh!
Yeah, it was
dude,
anime.
This
It
is
was
all over
anime.
Asia, dude. I couldn't believe it, dude. I thought it was just in Japan when I was there. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
nuts.
No, yeah.
Did
So
you go to
I went to
Maid
anime,
Raymond?
right? And it was pretty yeah,
There
I went to
it
Maid
is, baby.
Well. Yeah, there it is. And I went in, and I just saw a whole fucking wall dedicated, and it wasn't like a few shelves. It was an entire fucking wall just dedicated to Love Live and Idolmaster. And I was just like, "Fuck! I have literally reached the depths of hell." Like,
Yeah,
what is?
I feel like that every time I look at my shelf, don't worry.
I am Damien, the devil's son.
It's like I had a harder time. Time finding like Evangelion shit or Naruto shit or something that was popular in the West, and here it was just like really hard to find comparable to like any kind of idol show you can imagine, like even like male idol shows. Like I didn't even know
male
what it
idol
was.
shows.
Well,
You have piqued my interest.
at least you get good previews. You can't
I think
complain.
that's
Yeah.
really interesting because of course it's much more to that same extent in Japan. There's Love Live virtually everywhere. Like at every JR station, there's usually an ad on some wall for a Love Live event for a phone game.
Do you think it's because Vocaloids are just so popular, so they're just into that more?
No.
We need more
No.
anime singing. Yes.
I don't even know if the Vocaloids are popular within Japan. I didn't really see it. It's important to realize that Love Live has nothing to do with Vocaloids and is just a bunch of voice actresses performing stuff. But I think the biggest thing...
Still, it's like girls being cute and dancing. I mean, it's same concept.
But that's not limited to Vocaloid necessarily,
No.
is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
I mean, they're real
mean,
people that do Love Live.
Yeah, but why do you
Yeah,
think
so
they would
yeah.
advertise it more?
Because it's a mobile phone game. Because it's accessible. Because everybody has a phone.
Yeah, all of the products and stuff they make for it as well is a large amount of the income, if not most of the income for the series.
You make a lot of money off of your phone game, and that's what the story of the 2010s is now. Is you make your money off a phone game. I mean, look at my favorite one is Rage of Bahamut, right?
Oh yeah,
Rage of Bahamut is getting it's getting another anime soon.
Yeah.
Shingeki, which the first one was Shingeki no Bahamut, definitely worth watching, by the way. And in addition, their sequel, not their sequel, but their spiritual successor, Grand Blue, is getting an anime this season as well. And those are just phone games. This is
isn't Mariner Friends getting the
yes,
second
I think
one?
it is.
They've also been
Yeah, I think it is too.
toying with the short series of Bahamut for a little while, but it was going to air, but then it wasn't, and then it.
Yeah, and then they also released an episode out of nowhere for Shingeki no Bahamut, where it's between seasons 1 and season 2. They just were like, "Hey, here you go. This is the in between season 1 and season 2 OVA thing." And it's crazy because phones are becoming more and more of a legitimate platform for anime. So much so that Crunchyroll made an advertisement showing the
Oh,
uses
God.
of it at a nightclub using a phone.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what
Oh
did
my
they
God.
do? What did they do?
As someone who's worked as a bartender for a long time, that video was just something else for me. Like, holy shit.
They made an advertisement for Crunchyroll where this dude was at a bar watching anime on his phone, and it was like a bar scene kind of deal, and there was hot girls with anime, and it was like physically convulsing. Like, it was incredible.
I think my favourite comment about it was just people this attractive don't play, don't watch anime. I was
And
like,
I was like, excuse me, have you not seen my profile picture?
We're getting to the point where it's going to be, pay $3 so you can see episode 13.
But for real though, $5. This episode early. Not joking. Patreon, Holden, do it.
you mean next episode?
Next episode, $5. Seriously, do it.
Inflation.
No, it's
So this episode, $5 to me. Just give it to me
Also,
instead.
Trump is president.
Just give me $5.
Microtransactions are the future.
I mean, they're the current as well for gaming, So
It's almost as if anime was a business. Who knew?
People usually don't know that. To be fair,
No, it's
anime is a weird business because a lot of it's done behind closed doors, and we don't know a lot of it, like what a budget is.
why is this show getting more series? Why is this show not getting a new series? Well, funnily enough, there's money.
Yeah.
There's this thing.
I mean, Gene, as someone who, since the last time we recorded, which was 3 months ago, have you seen any more newer anime, or are you still picking something to watch?
I think I'm gonna start Orange.
You're gonna start Orange.
Alright.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty alright.
that's an okay.
It's the new Black, from what I understand.
Get that shit out of here.
Oh fuck! I thought he had something intelligent to say. For example,
Yeah.
No.
Garth, it's me we're talking
Yeah.
about. Who
God
the
fucking
fuck do you
damn it.
think I am?
John used that classic bait and switch.
That was honestly the only thing that kind of caught my eye, but I'm not sure if I want to start that because I've been kind of like stuck ever since I watched Terror in the Resonance.
Yeah.
I've been like, I don't know what
yeah.
to.
Wait, what's happened ever since Terror in Resonance?
I just have been like, in my void where I don't know where do I want to go from. Like, what do I want to watch next?
Usually a pretty good to go on something that's completely in like a diametrically opposed position.
I could watch Yuri on Ice.
I would recommend Kono Subarashi Sekai
Goddamn,
no
yeah.
Shikufuku.
Yeah, that is definitely
What?
completely
Yeah,
opposite.
Konosuba
Yeah.
is a very good show.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Super uplifting and moe.
Not
No,
sure
it's
if you'd
more
enjoy
just
it.
like
Oh, yeah,
stupid
no.
humor.
No
Is
moe.
the unanimous no.
Aww.
But yeah, I think you definitely enjoy Yuri on Ice. It's like, I don't know, you enjoyed Free, right?
Of course I did.
Yeah, it's like free.
I think that was a yes.
It's like Free, but just with a bit more of a character focus. I feel
More gay. More.
They go,
gay.
they go full homo, and it's like the thing that I found hilarious about Yuri on Ice was that people were just laughing at it because we thought it was just yaoi bait, and
And it was.
then it wasn't just like yaoi
it's not
bait.
bait.
It was just
It's
it's not bait. It's just full yaoi now.
It went from like, they're so gay, and it's like, oh my god, they're so gay. What's gonna happen?
It's
Surprised
That's exactly
everybody.
what it was like.
It was the
Yeah.
element of surprise.
To be fair, it was all pretty good anime. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It's worth
I think-
watching.
It's just
I
that
think
holy
it's-
shit, they did it. What is this?
I hope I
That
learned some
moment.
ice skating moves after watching it.
I doubt
See, no, that's the sad part, right? Is that you will at first, and then
Oh.
it just stops, and that's what sucks.
Damn.
It's like every episode
Yeah.
after 4 just becomes, oh, quadruple sacco, quadruple sacco.
See, I went and saw like an ice
Excellent!
hockey game
Triple
while
flip.
Yuri on Ice had just finished, and I was just like, this is so much more entertaining. It was like people
Yeah.
jumping into each other on the ice rink. I was like, yeah.
It tosses aside its incredible ensemble cast. And I mean that, like, the ensemble cast, like, with JJ and Yuri and everybody else, was at points more interesting than the main characters. And it just never touched on them. Like JJ,
Yeah,
would steal the show when he was on screen, man. It was incredible.
I totally agree, and it's just like they had. I feel like they did that because they were pushing the gay agenda.
Sure.
I didn't know how I could say that tastefully, but
LGBTQ.
yeah, the LGBT.
Monday,
I don't know,
be
whatever.
gay.
On one
Tuesday,
day.
more gay.
But-
and tacos.
I feel like it was a good anime. I don't think it was an amazing anime. I feel like it's got overshadowed by the Crunchyroll Anime Awards because a lot of people
I would say,
hate
did you
now.
feel like it was worth 6 awards?
No.
Was it best opening and
Potentially
ending?
7.
In quotations, critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
best
I mean,
opening
it didn't-
and ending. Ugh.
It didn't actually do anything, but it's just getting hate for just the other things people have like said about it. It's like the fucking Amelia effect, where Amelia did fucking nothing, but is like the most fucking hated character of the past year.
I liked her. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's true.
Yeah,
She would probably
Yeah.
win Villain of the Year if we redid it.
she would.
It's
She
possible.
would definitely have won it within the year.
That's pretty
That would have been
exciting.
the best.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like the main duo wasn't actually like the strongest characters, or at least the most interesting characters. And,
I think
what-
that Yuri P, the Russian boy, or Yurio, as it's known,
Yeah.
pretty incredible character.
Like, can you guys think of any other anime where like the main duo like really overshadowed a much more interesting side cast? Because I know there are some.
Psychopaths.
I feel that the most recent one for me personally was Boku no Hero Academia with All
Oh
Might
god, yeah.
and Deku, where they were the two main characters pretty much, and or if not All Might, because you might be like All Might's a side character, and that's fine, I'll buy that. But then it would be Deku and Explosion Fist Man.
Yeah,
I feel that they were incredible. I think that the ensemble cast in that series specifically was the best of the year. Not to take away things from Yuri on Ice, but I think that Boku no Hero Academia's cast was incredible. Every character you feel like you get to know at least something about. It's super engaging. And then next season they're gonna take all that character building and actually like put it to the test and stuff with this tournament arc and everything. And it's gonna introduce new characters. It's a really awesome cast in my opinion. I think that would be my vote.
Hell yeah.
So wait, you're saying the ones
Yeah.
that main characters would be overshadowed by the sub
I
characters?
think those two characters,
I don't-
even amongst a roster that strong, still outshined the rest of the cast.
yeah. I was actually saying, is there any anime like Yuri on Ice where you feel like the side characters are more interesting than the main?
then
than
the
the
new
main.
Gundam series by a mile.
Yeah, Jitekatsu is pretty good example of that. I think a pretty good one for me personally again is Ping Pong
Oh yeah, actually.
and everyone and like all of the side characters in Ping Pong. I feel like Robot Boy was just not as interesting as like the other
feel
guys
like-
later on.
I feel like he did his job as a character. Robot Boy did his job as a character, but
But
he
like
definitely
everybody else, man, like when Kong was playing, and then like
yeah.
when it was just like everybody else in the series was just so awesome by the end, man. It was so cool. The final arc where they have to face each other, like all the people, all the characters you know and love, it was so gut wrenching watching that, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to say I was way more invested in every other fucking character's match than
Then the
Robot
final
Boy.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
It was.
No.
It's a super good show, by the way. If you guys haven't seen Ping Pong, directed by Masaki Uwasa, go watch it. Really good.
Yeah.
I personally can't think of any offhand.
One that comes to mind for me is, and this may just be my personal opinion about it, but don't get me wrong, I loved Flip Flappers. I loved it. It was fantastic. But when the main through line for the plot going forward is what you get from the side characters and what you get from everyone that's not, who's not Paprika and in Coconut, like you're sitting here wondering, like, can they get some more screen time so I can find out what the hell's going on? Because I would really like to do that.
Yeah, that's my problem
Yeah.
with Flip Flappers is that I've seen about half of it and I still have no freaking clue what the hell is supposed to be happening.
To be
there's
fair,
the main characters don't either.
yeah, it does solidify itself at the end. It does come to a point where everything is laid out in front of you, but
good.
there's nothing that like preludes that. It's just all thrown at you at once. And
Yeah, it's just kind of just been like, oh, this is pretty, I guess. That's been so far my consensus. I get really.
they almost kissed like twice,
just,
so that's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Cute girls almost kissing.
Oh god.
Oh, episode 2.
Who the fuck is Baron J? God damn it.
Who the fuck is that?
Who's Baron J?
Actually, I've got one. I think.
Sure.
So one anime where I feel like side characters, a journey of the side characters, is much more interesting is Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
I feel like even though I fucking love Ippo's fights, I feel like they're like the least interesting in terms of the other cast members' fights. I mean, I feel like in terms of main character, Takamura is a much more interesting character, and I was much more invested in his journey and his fights than I ever were in Ippo's fights.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
So I'll be kind of the same with the Air Gear manga as well. That's another one for me.
Yeah, Airgear does that with
with the manga,
a lot of
at least,
people
like the
liking
series
everybody
doesn't.
else besides Iki.
Yeah, it's like his best mate is like my favorite
Yeah.
character from that series by
Kaz- dude,
huge. Yeah, he's freaking awesome because you get to see him growing, and it's like he's actually
Well, because
having
he's
to
the
be
one who
challenged by
practices and
things.
tries.
Yeah, whereas Iki is just
Whereas
like, hey,
Iki's
I'm good.
like,
screw you
regalia,
all. Yeah,
powers. Well, it's kind of like it's the classic Rock Lee effect, where Rock Lee was always more interesting and stole the show whenever he was on screen compared to Naruto.
Yeah, well, I actually feel like that rings true with a lot of shonens, because you think about shonen protagonists, and a lot of the times the most blandest character is the main character.
Shout out to my boy Deku.
Yeah, you mean you got Deku, you got Naruto, you got Bleach. But flipping this around, can you think of like any anime which is almost like entirely carried by the main character, like the
Twin
side
Star
characters?
Exorcists currently airing. To be honest,
Is that good? Is that good?
I wouldn't say it's good. I'd say it's pretty average. It's just
Right.
one of those things that I've been watching it for so long that I'm not going to stop. But
Right.
generally speaking, the only characters that are of most interest are the main two. Or pretty much all of the others have kind of not had an awful lot of screen time or just don't really care about. Just because it's like it's 40 episodes in and a lot of them you're still like, oh look, here's some person that's supposed to be really powerful that we've had for maybe an episode or so, but we don't really know anything about them. So why do we care about them?
I guess the most recent one that springs to mind for me is of course ReZero. I think without
Oh god, yeah.
without Subaru, how fucking flat would that series have fallen? Like without Subaru, that series is literally nothing. And a lot of people give Subaru hate, but he is what makes that show like interesting at all. Like without him,
It's because he's so
like-
different from everyone else, isn't he? So
Exactly. What else is there?
I say Kamina from Gurren Lagann.
hey, the first time I met Ron, I was dressed up as Kamina.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
Well, that's interesting. Why'd you say Kamina?
Why
from Gurren
Kamina?
Lagann?
Because he totally just made the show so inspiring, and it made it feel like it really could happen. It really could come true, and it just was so kick-ass with him.
Okay, so by your logic, how was the series after the you know what happened?
Well, it wasn't the same. How about that?
It wasn't the same. All right.
Did you still think that though towards like the end of the series?
I don't know.
Well, okay.
Wow.
Well, that was a very
Wow.
defeated sound.
My answer.
Guys, I didn't want to think about this. I didn't want to think about what happened.
Fangirl.mp3.
My answer to that question, Lagarde, the two people that
Yeah.
carry a show entirely on their back, dude, Mob and Reagan from Mob Psycho 100.
Holy shit! Yeah, they carry.
Absolutely.
I can't. Reagan, you would think this dude not going to be important. He's just a meme. But him, without Reagan, the whole show is. It's like if you made a hype Reddit without any scenes with Reagan, the show would be so much worse. Like, way worse. He is like the singular. Him and Mob, their interaction is the reason I watch the show.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd argue against that. Like Mob's brother, I feel like should be added to that as well because he made the show incredibly enjoyable for me.
No.
I don't know. I'd say Reagan gave a lot to the show. I don't think he was the show, but he definitely.
He was pretty
catapulted
close
it
to being Reagan Psycho 100.
in before Mob Psycho 100, but with no mob.
Hypercut, let's go.
Hypercut. But I think the one that comes to mind for me.
It's not to be confused with the film.
Mob Psycho 100, but every time they say Mabu, it gets
Gets
faster.
faster!
But I think the one that comes to me is probably Steins Gate.
Yeah,
I think that's
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the most massive one because I don't feel like any other character apart from Okabe was even remotely that interesting.
Sure.
God,
I feel like for me, if we're gonna go like that old, since you've said one is super old and Gene said one is super old, for me, of course, it's Code Geass. Lelouch,
All those 5-6 years
Lelouch
old.
is probably like the single character that just carries an anime more than like any other aspect of a show. It's like if you remove Lelouch from Code Geass, you have this coup d'etat ran by a bunch of like a school club, and it's just not as good. He for a lot of
well,
people
then you could
is,
say
like,
the same
their
thing
favorite
about
character.
like Yagami and Death Note. If you take like Yagami
No,
out of
because-
the
because he
equation,
does.
that would have never happened.
Light Yagami and L carry the show. And
Yeah,
with the
true,
absence
yeah.
of one or the other, the show suffers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's,
I think Lelouch specifically is undoubtedly that character that is just like so engaging to watch. Like he's the reason people watch Code Geass. That's why people love him.
Well, he's the mastermind.
which is interesting you bring that up because I don't think we have talked about the impending sequel to Code Geass.
Fucking.
Yeah.
I think we can do that in a
we
future
can do that.
episode. But because we've been going on
We
for a
should just
long
watch
time.
the Akito films for the meantime.
Yeah, in the meantime, check out the not bad CG in the
Yeah.
Akito the Exile films. It's we covered a lot of ground today. It's been pretty incoherent, but that's all right. Been a lot of fun. I know I had a lot of fun. Hope you guys did as well. Both the people in the call right next to me, and then also you guys at home. And I just want to thank you guys for being here. So thank you, John, for taking time to be here. Really appreciate it, man.
No problem.
You too, Damien. Really means a lot to us.
From 3 o'clock in the morning, I thank you for having me.
Wow, dedicated.
Someone had to take a hit. We're from all over the world right now, so
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure. I would, of course, like to thank my co-host, Garin, as well as my good friend, Gene. You guys both have busy schedules. I know you guys have lives outside of this, so I just want to thank you guys personally for coming out here and making this possible. It's been an absolute blast doing
No,
this every
thank
time.
you, and thank you everybody for listening. And until next time, anime no Yume.
we'll be listening.
And I'll see you all next time.
Next
and so-
time.
In the
Thanks, guys.
In the
Bye-bye.
meantime, go on the Discord, join it. You guys know the drill.
The
Type
Discord,
some
though. The Discord.
messages. The Discord.
You'll probably see me there. I'm always there.
I'm also always there.
If you want the episodes in the future, $5 Patreon for real though.
Give him money.
We should do Discord No Anime Awards.
Discord.
Discord
What
No
kind of-
Anime Awards.
We make the most legit straw polls you've ever seen.
We've also got amazing websites and PDFs.
Yeah, we do.
Don't forget the meme bin.
Anime no Yume outtakes take one.
So, I apologize in advance if you heard my cat pooping in the background during the recording.
What? What?
Mega
Oh my god. Someone forward me her audio so I can enhance that.
This must be the Nelson Mandela effect, because I do remember a timeline when Trump wasn't elected and life was just normal. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I also remember that. It was back when the podcast was called Podtaku. It was also very different.
He said the thing.
no, from now, Holden is just an advocate of women's rights.
No! Oh my god.
He go. He
What
goes,
have I done?
He goes.
What
to
have
rallies
I done?
Hey guys, how's it going? Holden here. I'm an advocate of women's rights.
And
That's step one.
He
I go to rallies both physically and for food.
Donald Trump is not my president. He's not my president, guys. Hashtag not my president.